Hello everyone, welcome to our compilation video. In case you missed any of the last 20 quizzes, you can catch up here or else you can simply revise. Let us begin. The commodity market in India is regulated by which of the following agencies? The correct answer is Forward Market Commission. The Forward Markets Commission was the chief regulator of commodity futures markets in India. As of July 2014, it regulated Rs 17 trillion worth of commodity trades in India. It is headquartered in Mumbai and this financial regulatory agency is overseen by the Ministry of Finance. Headquarters of Forward Market Commission is located in, the correct answer is Mumbai, as we just learned. Forward Contracts Regulation Act was enacted in which year? The correct answer is 1952. The forward contract is a contract between two parties to buy or sell an asset at a specific future time at a price agreed upon today. During which plan Durgapur and Rourkela plants were set up? The correct answer is second. The Durgapur steel plant was launched with assistance of a consortium led by British firms and it started in 1956. The Rourkela steel plant was set up in collaboration of German firms like Krupp and DMAC. It started in 1961. On which date FIRA was replaced by FEMA? The correct answer is June 1st, 2000. The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, or in short FEMA, has been introduced as a replacement of the earlier Foreign Exchange Regulation Act or FIRA. FEMA became an act on the first day of June 2000. FEMA was introduced because the FIRA didn't fit in with post-liberalization policies. A significant change that the FEMA brought with it was that it made all offences regarding foreign exchange civil offences as opposed to criminal offences as dictated by FIRA. Which among the following organizations is the apex body in cooperative sector and deals in procurement, distribution, export and import of selected agricultural commodities? The correct answer is NAFED. National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India or NAFED was built in 2nd October 1958. NAFED is registered under the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act and was set up with the objective of promoting cooperative marketing of agricultural produce to benefit the farmer. Agricultural farmers are the main members of NAFED who have the authority to say in the form of members of the general body in the working of NAFED. Which among the following was India's first transgenic crop? The correct answer is BT cotton. A transgenic crop contains a gene or genes which have been artificially inserted instead of the plant acquiring them through pollination. BT cotton is a genetically modified organism or genetically modified pest-resistant plant cotton variety which produces an insecticide to bollworm. The Straits Times belongs to which of the following countries? The correct answer is Singapore. The Straits Times is an English language daily broadsheet newspaper based in Singapore, currently owned by Singapore Press Holdings. Which among the following is the single largest shareholder in Small Industries Development Bank of India? The correct answer is IDBI. IDBI Bank was established in 1964 by an Act of Parliament to provide credit and other financial facilities for the development of the fledgling Indian industry. It is owned by the Government of India. SBI Life Insurance Company is a joint venture between SBI and BNP Paribas. SBI Life Insurance is the largest state-owned bank and financial services company in India, and BNP Paribas, which is based out of Cardiff. BNP Paribas is a French multinational bank and financial service company with global headquarters in Paris. Which among the following defines gravitational mass? Gravitational mass is determined by the strength of the gravitational force experienced by the body when in gravitational field G. So the correct answer is ratio of weight of a body and acceleration due to gravity. The value of acceleration due to gravity is the acceleration which is gained by an object because of the gravitational force is called its acceleration due to gravity. that changes with the height of the object from the Earth's core, so it is minimum at equator and maximum at poles. What is the mean value of G at Earth's surface? Whenever a body is falling in the influence of the Earth's gravitational force, it will fall with an acceleration which has a value of 9.8 meter per second. So the correct answer is 9.8 meter per second square. Which of the following term denotes the internal reaction force per unit area developed as a result of applied external force? The correct answer is stress. Stress applied to a material is the force per unit area applied to that material. The maximum stress a material can stand before it breaks is called the breaking stress or ultimate tensile stress. Tensile means the material is under tension. The forces acting on it are trying to stretch the material. Which among the following defines cohesive force? Cohesive forces are the intermolecular forces, such as those of hydrogen bonding and van der Waals force, which cause a tendency in liquids to resist separation. These attractive forces exist between molecules of the same substance. The correct answer is the force of attraction acting between the molecules of the same material. The ideal fluid, which is a hypothetical fluid, should contain what? So, it should contain both zero viscosity and zero compressibility. In physics, a perfect fluid is a fluid that can be completely characterized by its rest frame mass density and isotopic pressure. Real fluids are sticky and contain heat. Perfect fluids are idealized models in which these possibilities are neglected. A molecule is the smallest part of matter which possesses all properties of original matter. A molecule is electrically neutral. By definition, a molecule is an electrically neutral group of two or more atoms held together by chemical bonds. Molecules are distinguished from ions by their lack of electrical charge. Which among the following is true about conduction, convection, and radiation mode of transfer of heat? While conduction is the transfer of heat energy by direct contact, convection is the movement of heat by actual motion of matter. Radiation is the transfer of energy with the help of electromagnetic waves. So the correct answer is a medium is required for conduction and convection but not required for radiation. Which among the following is true regarding sound waves? In physics, sound is a vibration that typically propagates as an audible wave of pressure through a transmission medium such as the gas, liquid, or solid. So the correct answer here is their longitudinal waves and material medium is required for their propagation. Which among the following principle is used by bats? The correct answer is sonar. So the actual process is echolation, which is also known as biosonar, which is a method used by several kinds of animals. In 1912, the inventor Hiram Maxim independently proposed that bats use the sound below the human auditory range to avoid obstacles. Part 6 of our Constitution is applicable to all the states except which one? The correct answer is Jammu and Kashmir. The part itself starts with the phrase, in this part, unless the context otherwise required, the expression state does not include the state of Jammu and Kashmir. A governor of a state can be dismissed from his office by the president. Although the governor holds office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office, yet this term is subject to pleasure of the president. The doctrine of pleasure has always been used to drop governors any time, and thus governors have no security of tenure. Further, a governor can resign from the office by addressing resignation to the president. Who can appoint and remove the members of the State Public Service Commission? The correct answer is that the governor of the state can appoint them while the president can remove them. Which among the following is not true about State Legislative Council in India? So among these options, option 1 stating the council is a permanent house and 1/3 of the members retire in 2 years is incorrect. In fact, the council is a permanent house. However, 2/3 of the members retire in 2 years. The rest of the options where it says Members of the local bodies elect 1/3 of the total number of members of the Legislative Council, and that if a state legislative council is to be created or abolished, a resolution to that effect is to be first passed by the state legislature by a 2/3 majority, in fact, is correct. A three-tier panchayat is envisaged for states having a population above what? The correct answer is 20 lakhs. On 24th April 1993, the Constitutional 73rd Amendment Act of 1992 came into force to provide constitutional status to the Panchayati Raj institutions. The Act aims to provide a three-tier system of Panchayati Raj for all states having a population of over 2 million or 20 lakhs, among other provisions. Delhi was called National Capital Territory by which Amendment Act? The correct answer is the 69th Amendment Act, which was passed in 1991, and Delhi is a union territory which is made National Capital Territory by this Act. There shall be a Legislative Assembly for National Capital Territory of Delhi. CM and Council of Ministers will be appointed by the President. To be appointed as a judge of Supreme Court, a person should have been an advocate of a High Court for at least how many years? The correct answer is 10 years. To be appointed a judge of the Supreme Court, a person must be a citizen of India and must have been the judge of a High Court for a period of 5 years or an advocate of the High Court for at least 10 years, or in view of the President, a distinct jurist of the country. Thus, there is nothing which can prevent the direct appointment of the judges of Supreme Court from the bar, yet so far the appointments have been made from the judges of High Courts only. Jurisdiction of Lakshadweep comes under which court? The correct answer is Kerala High Court. Lakshadweep is a union territory and is governed by the Union Government of India. The region forms a single Indian district with 10 subdivisions. Karavatti serves as the capital of the Union Territory, and the region comes under the jurisdiction of Kerala High Court. If you see in the map, you can see that the islands are actually perfectly lined up against the coast of Kerala. Andaman and Nicobar Islands judiciary falls under the supervision of a circuit bench of the Kolkata High Court at Port Blair. There is no separate High Court of Andaman as such. The Kolkata High Court exercises jurisdiction over those islands, and there is a circuit bench of Kolkata High Court at Port Blair, which is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Which among the following is true about duration of an emergency under Article 356 and 352? The correct answer is the maximum duration under 356 can be of 3 years, while under Article 352 it may continue indefinitely. So what Article 352 is prior to the 44th Amendment Bill of 1978, a proclamation of emergency under Article 352 could remain in force in the first instance for 2 months. However, once approved by the Parliament, the emergency could remain in force indefinitely. Now, the 44th Amendment has cut this power of the executive down. After this amendment, a proclamation of emergency may remain in force in the first instance for 1 month. Such proclamation, if approved by the Parliament, shall remain in force for a period of 6 months unless revoked earlier. For further continuance, approval would be required from the Parliament for every 6 months. So on approval of the Parliament and not on the discretion of the executive, the emergency may continue for a longer time. Gayatri Mantra has been mentioned in which of the following Vedas? The correct answer is the Rig Veda. Gayatri Mantra comes from the third mandala of the Rig Veda. This mandala has 62 hymns, mainly to Agni and Indra. It is one of the family books, the oldest core of Rig Veda. This mandala also mentions Kikats, a non-Aryan tribe, which most scholars agree that was the resident of somewhere in near Magadha in modern-day Bihar. Which among the following Veda has been described as Brahma Veda? The correct answer is Atharva Veda. The Atharva Veda, or knowledge storehouse of Atharvans, the procedures of everyday life, is the text which is the fourth Veda but has been a late addition to the Vedic scriptures of Hinduism. The Atharva Veda is also occasionally referred as Bhagavangirash or Brahma Veda after Bhrigu and Brahma respectively. Which among the following system in the Vedic age has provided for a marriage of a childless widow with the brother of blood relation of a deceased husband for the sake of progeny? The correct answer is Niyog. An example of this practice can be found in the epic Mahabharata, where Ved Vyasa blesses the Kuru dynasty with heirs in death of King Vichitravirya. Earth, water, fire, air and ether or sky, these are Panchatattvas or 5 elements, and when they combine they give rise to new objects. This is a principle of which of the Vedic philosophies? The correct answer is Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika is one of the 6 orthodox schools of ancient India. Vaisheshika school is known for its insights in naturalism. According to the school, knowledge and liberation were achieved by a complete understanding of the world of experience. Which among the following Mahajanpada was located on the junction of 2 famous ancient Indian trade routes, Uttarpath and Dakshinpath? The correct answer is Sursena. The kingdom of Sursena was an ancient Indian region corresponding to the present-day Braj region in Uttar Pradesh, with Mathura as its capital city. According to the Buddhist text Anguttara Nikaya, Sursena was one of the 16 or 16 Mahajanpadas in the 6th century BC. In which of the following modern state most of the 24 Tirthankars of Jainism attained nirvana? The correct answer is Bihar. Jainism in Bihar traces a long history since the times of 24th Tirthankara Mahavira, who was born in Vaishali. Vasupujya, the 12th Jain Tirthankara, was born in Champapur, Bhagalpur. Vardhamana Mahavira, the 24th and the last Tirthankara of Jainism, was born in Vaishali around 6th century BC. Which among the following is true about Buddha? The correct answer is that he neither accepted nor rejected the existence of God. After Siddhartha Gautam became Buddha at the age of 35, having gained enlightenment, he began traveling throughout India and Nepal, teaching the steps that he took to reach a state of pure nirvana. It is said that while lecturing both loyal disciples and unacquainted seekers, Buddha made a point to dismiss the notion of a higher power. It is certain that he wasn't interested in discussing the idea of a god, as he believed that it had no particular purpose for reaching the sought after state of enlightenment. King Prasenjit was a contemporary and friend of Lord Buddha. He was the king of Kosal. He was the ruler of Kosal. Savatthi was his capital. He succeeded his father Sanjay Mahakosala. He was a prominent follower of Gautam Buddha who built many Buddhist monasteries. In which of the following works is the conspiracy hatched by Pushyamitra Shunga to eliminate the last Mauryan king Brihadratha mentioned? The correct answer is Harshacharitra of Banabhatta. So Brihadratha Maurya was killed in 180 BCE and the power was usurped by his general Pushyamitra Shunga, who then took over the throne and established the Shunga Empire. Pushyamitra killed the former emperor in front of his military and established himself as the new ruler. Which among the following was main item of revenue during Maurya period? The correct answer is Bhaga. During Maurya period, land revenues from the rural areas were appropriated in the form of crown lands or sita, land revenue or bhaga from cultivators, taxes on orchards, ferry charges, etc. Which line marks the boundary of the zone where the sun never sets during June solstice and never rises during December solstice? The correct answer is Arctic Circle. The midnight sun is a natural phenomenon that occurs the summer months in places north of the Arctic Circle or south of the Antarctic Circle, when the sun remains visible at the local place till midnight. A quarter of Finland's territory lies north of the Arctic Circle, and at the country's northernmost point, the sun does not set at all over 60 days during summer. In Svalbard, Norway, the northernmost inhabited region of Europe, there is no sunset from approximately 19th April to 23rd August. The extreme sites are the poles, where the sun can be continuously visible for half the year. The North Pole has midnight sun for 6 months, from late March to late September. Hematite and magnetite are iron ores. Magnetite is the finest iron ore with a very high content of iron of 70%. It has excellent magnetic qualities, especially valuable in the electrical industry. Hematite ore is the most important industrial iron ore in terms of quantity used, but has a slightly lower iron content than magnetite. In polar tundra region, which animal is used to get fur by nomadic Eskimos? The correct answer is caribou. A parka, which is a hooded jacket invented by Eskimos, was first made of caribou skin and worn with the fur inside. Among Jharkhand, West Bengal and Orissa and Chhattisgarh, through which state the Subarnarekha river does not flow? If you see on the map, the correct answer is Chhattisgarh because the river is flowing through Jharkhand, West Bengal and Orissa. Which among the following is not true regarding igneous rocks? The correct answer is they are formed inside earth under great pressure. Igneous rocks are formed at the crust surface as a result of partial melting of rocks within the mantle and crust, or from magma that cools and solidifies within the crust of a planet surrounded by pre-existing rocks. In fact, it's metamorphic rock which is formed as a result of squeezing of sedimentary or igneous rocks under extreme temperature and pressure. Which among the following examples is the right combination? The correct answer is marble and metamorphic rock. Marble is a metamorphic rock formed when limestone is exposed to high temperatures and pressures. Marble forms under such conditions because the calcite forming the limestone recrystallizes, forming a denser rock consisting of roughly equigranular calcite crystals. What is the correct decreasing order of size of different soil sizes of sand, gravel, clay and silt? The correct answer is gravel, which is larger than sand, followed by silt, which is smaller than sand, and followed by clay, which is the smallest. Pastoral farming is usually related to grazing for livestock. Pastoral farming, which is also known in some regions as ranching, livestock farming or grazing, is a form of agriculture aimed at producing livestock rather than growing crops. Examples include dairy farming, raising beef cattle, and raising sheep for wool. The largest producer of rubber is Thailand. Thailand is the largest rubber producing country in the world, while India is the fourth largest. Savannas are tropical grasslands of Africa. A savanna or savanna is a mixed woodland grass ecosystem characterized by trees being sufficiently widely spaced so that the canopy does not close. The open canopy allows sufficient light to reach the ground to support an unbroken herbaceous layer consisting primarily of grasses. Which 5-year plan of India is called Industry and Transport Plan? Correct answer is second 5-year plan. So the second 5-year plan was made for the duration of 1956 to 1961. It was based on the PC Mahalanobis model. Its main focus was on the industrial development of the country, and this plan was successful and achieved growth rate of 4.1%. Which among the following is or are characters of dual economy? The correct answer is all of them. A dual economy is the existence of two separate economic sectors within one country, divided by different levels of development, technology, and different patterns of demand. By that logic, existence of industry and agriculture, existence of commercial agriculture with subsistence farming, and modern industry and commercial agriculture with subsistence farming and traditional handicraft all can be a part of dual economy. What is the total number of annual plans that have been instituted in between the 5-year plans in India? The correct answer is 4. The TAMP is a body which regulates the ceiling for tariffs charged by major ports or ports operators. What is the full form of TAMP? The correct answer is Tariff Authority for Major Ports. It is a multi-member statutory body with a mandate to fix tariffs levied by major port trusts under the control of Union government and private terminals therein. It is mandated not only to fix the rates but also the conditionalities governing application of the rates. Dr. R.K. Hazari Committee was related to which of the following segments? The correct answer is Industrial Licensing. Hazari Committee was set up under the chairmanship of Dr. R.K. Hazari, a planning commission consultant, to review the industrial licensing system under Industries Development and Regulation Act of 1951. This committee submitted its report in 1967 and brought out many defects of the licensing policy. On the basis of recommendations of Raghavan Committee, the Government of India has enacted the Competition Act in year 2003. S.V.S. Raghavan is an Indian industrialist and the former head of Bharat Business International Limited or BBIL. He has also served several public sector industries in India and has been the executive chairman of the Competition Commission of India, which is the watchdog organization set up by the Government of India for the enforcement of the Competition Act 2002. During this period, he headed the Central Government Committee of 2000 set up for advising policy guidelines on competition and corporate governance, which later came to be known as the S.V.S. Raghavan Committee. To facilitate the promotion and development of micro, small and medium enterprises and enhancement of their competition, the Government of India has enacted the Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development Act in which year? The correct answer is 2006. The MSMED Act 2006 came into effect from 2nd of October 2006. It is a single comprehensive act for development and regulation of small enterprises and had been a long outstanding demand of the sector so as to free it from a plethora of laws and regulations which it had to face with limited awareness and resources. In addition, recommendations to provide for a proper legal framework for small sector to relieve it of the requirements to comply with multiple rules and regulations were made by the committee such as the Abid Hussain Committee and Study Group under Dr. S.P. Gupta. Which committee in its recommendation mentioned that SEBI should not become a controlling authority substituting the CCI but should function as a market regulator? The correct answer is Raghavan Committee. Variable reserve rates and open market operations are the instruments of monetary policy. Monetary policy is the process by which the monetary authority of a country, typically the central bank or currency board, controls either the cost of very short-term borrowing or the monetary base, often targeting an inflation rate or interest rate to ensure price stability and general trust in the currency. In which year India Brand Equity Fund was established? The correct answer is 1996. The India Brand Equity Foundation is a trust established by the Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, part of Government of India. IBEF's primary objective is to promote and create international awareness of the Make in India label in markets overseas and to facilitate dissemination of knowledge of Indian products and services. India has an extensive road network of 3.3 million kilometers. What is India's rank in the world in road network? The correct answer is second. India has a road network of over 5,600,000 kilometers as of on 31st March 2016, and it is the second largest road network in the world. Adjusted for its large population, India has approximately 4.63 km of roads per 1,000 people. Which is the highest body that approves a 5-year plan? The correct answer is the National Development Council. The National Development Council, or Rashtriya Vikas Parishad, is the apex body for decision creating and deliberations on development matters in India, presided over by the Prime Minister. Under which 5-year plan did the agriculture of India register a negative growth? The correct answer is the third plan. The third 5-year plan was between the duration of 1961 to 1966. It is also called the Gadkil Yojana. The main target of this plan was to make the economy independent and to reach self-active position of takeoff. Due to China war, this plan could not achieve its growth rate of 5.6%. The largest share in national income of India belongs to the service sector. The service sector has the largest share of India's GDP, accounting for 57% in 2012, up from 15% in 1950. It is the seventh largest services sector by nominal GDP and third largest when purchasing power is taken into account. The services sector provides employment to 27% of the workforce. As per the new SEBI norms, the overall timeline to complete a rights issue has been reduced from 109 days to 43 days. As per the norms of August 2008, the overall timeline to complete a rights issue has been reduced to 43 days from the then present 109 days. Nirmal Gram Puraskar is associated with which of the following? The correct answer is rural sanitation. The Nirmal Gram Puraskar was launched by the Government of India in the year 2002 with the objective to promote rural sanitation, especially to eliminate the practice of open defecation and to reward PRIs, that is Gram Panchayats, Panchayat Samitis, Zilla Panchayat, individuals and institutions for their sustained efforts towards achieving it. The incentive amount varies between 50,000 to 50 lakh rupees depending upon the population. The first Garib Rath was bound from where to where? The correct answer is Saharsa to Amritsar. The Garib Rath, literally poor people's chariot, is a no-frills air-conditioned train started by the Indian Railways in 2005 to provide subsidized price air-conditioned long-distance travel to passengers who could not afford standard fares of air-conditioned class in regular fare trains. Which is the first fully literate district outside Kerala? The correct answer is Burdwan, West Bengal. Burdwan or Bardhaman district is a district in West Bengal that was bifurcated on 7th of April 2017 to Purva Bardhaman and Paschim Bardhaman district. The headquarters of the district was Bardhaman and it is housed in the cities of Asansol and Durgapur. Great revolutionary Raj Bihari Bose was born in village Subaldaha, Bardhaman district. Indravati hydroelectric project belongs to which state? As you can see on the map, the correct answer is Orissa. The Upper Indravati project envisages diversion of water of the Indravati river in its upper reaches into the Mahanadi basin for power generation and irrigation. Deepak Parekh Committee is related to which of the following? The correct answer is infrastructure financing. The government had appointed eminent banker Deepak Parekh as the chairman of the high-level committee on financing infrastructure. When the body's immune system cells destroy the insulin-producing beta cells of the pancreas, it is termed as type 1 diabetes. Diabetes mellitus type 1 is a form of diabetes which very little or no insulin is produced by the pancreas. Before treatment, this results in high blood sugar levels in the body. The classic symptoms are frequent urination, increased thirst, increased hunger and weight loss. Additional symptoms may include blurry vision, feeling tired, and poor wound healing. Symptoms typically develop over a short period of time. It is more common in children, hence it is known as juvenile diabetes. A person develops resistance to the action of insulin in the body's cells, then it is known as type 2 diabetes. Diabetes mellitus type 2 is a long-term metabolic disorder that is characterized by high blood sugar, insulin resistance, and relative lack of insulin. Common symptoms include increased thirst, frequent urination, and unexplained weight loss. Symptoms may also include increased hunger, feeling tired, and sores that do not heal. Athlete's foot or tinea pedis is caused by which of the following? The correct answer is fungi. Athlete's foot, known medically as tinea pedis, is a common skin infection of the feet caused by fungus. Signs and symptoms often include itching, scaling, cracking, and redness. It's called athlete's foot because athletes often get it. Leishmaniasis is a disease caused by protozoan parasites that belong to the genus Leishmania and is transmitted by the bite of certain species of sandfly. So sandfly is a colloquial name for any species or genus of flying, biting, blood-sucking dipteran encountered in sandy areas. Out of diphtheria, whooping cough, typhoid, diarrhea, and malaria, which is not caused by bacteria. The correct answer is malaria. Malaria is a life-threatening disease. It's typically transmitted through the bite of an infected Anopheles mosquito. Infected mosquitoes carry the Plasmodium parasite. When this mosquito bites us, the parasite is released into our bloodstream. Schizophrenia is an example of mental illness. Schizophrenia is a chronic and severe mental disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. People with schizophrenia may seem like they have lost touch with reality. Although schizophrenia is not as common as other mental disorders, the symptoms can be very disabling. Hepatitis A, which is the most common cause of jaundice in young people, is an infection of liver by virus. Hepatitis A is an infectious disease of the liver caused by hepatitis A virus or HAV. Many cases have few or no symptoms, especially in the young. The time between infection and symptoms in those who develop them is between 2 and 6 weeks. When symptoms occur, they typically last 8 weeks and may include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, jaundice, fever, abdominal pain, etc. Poliomyelitis, also known as polio, is caused by an enterovirus which causes paralysis of muscles. This virus has a particular affinity to nerve cells of spinal cord. Poliomyelitis, often known as polio or infantile paralysis, is an infectious disease caused by the poliovirus. In about 0.5% of cases, there is muscle weakness resulting in an inability to move. Meningitis is a disease which is characterized by inflammation of meninges, which is the covering that lies over the brain and spinal cord. It is caused by bacteria. Meningitis is an inflammation of the meninges. The meninges are the three membranes that cover the brain and spinal cord. Meningitis can occur when fluids surrounding the meninges become infected. The most common causes of meningitis are viral and bacterial infections. Which among the following disease is known as Yersinia pestis? The correct answer is plague. So Yersinia pestis, which was formerly known as Pasteurella pestis, is a gram-negative, non-motile, rod-shaped cocobacillus with no spores. It is a facultative anaerobic organism that can infect humans by the oriental rat flea. It causes the disease plague, which takes three main forms: pneumonic, septicemic, and bubonic plagues. Articles 36 to 51 of our Constitution are related to which of the following? The correct answer is Directive Principles of State Policy, which are the guidelines or principles given to the federal institutes governing the state of India, to be kept in citation while framing laws and policies. These provisions, contained in Part 4 of the Constitution of India, are not enforceable by any court, but the principles laid down therein are considered irrefutable in the governance of the country, making it the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws to establish a just society in the country. The principles have been inspired by the directive principles given in the Constitution of Ireland relating to social justice, economic welfare, foreign policy, and legal and administrative matters. Which among the following is true about the tenure of the India's president? The correct answer is he is elected for 5 years but eligible for immediate re-election and can serve for any number of terms. The president may remain in office for a tenure of 5 years as stated by Article 56 Part 5 of the Constitution of India. In the case where a president's term of office is terminated early or during the absence of the president, the vice president assumes office. All union territories are under the President of India. This comes under which of the following powers of President? The correct answer is executive and administrative power. The Constitution explicitly assigns the President the power to sign or veto legislation, command the armed forces, ask for the written opinion of their cabinet, convene or adjourn Congress, grant reprieves and pardons, and receive ambassadors. Which among the following is not a legislative power of the President of India? The correct answer is sanction given to introduction of money bills. Sanction given to introduction of money bills comes under financial powers. A vice president is elected by members of electoral college consisting of the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha both. The vice president is elected indirectly by the members of an electoral college consisting of the members of both houses of parliament in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote, and the voting is by secret ballot conducted by Election Commission. Which among the following is known as upper house? The correct answer is Rajya Sabha. The members of Lok Sabha are elected directly by the people of India through democratic elections. On the other hand, the members of Rajya Sabha are not directly elected. 12 are nominated by the President and the rest are representatives of states and union territories. Hence, the Lok Sabha is called the lower house of the Parliament of India, whereas the Rajya Sabha is called the upper house. A bill becomes an act when it is passed by the original house after making suggested amendments by the other house and the President has given his or her assent to it. A bill is a draft of a legislative proposal which has to pass through various stages before it becomes an act of parliament. The legislative process starts with the introduction of a bill in either house of parliament, that is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and once passed in both houses, the bill needs to get assent of the President to become an act. Which amendment of the Constitution is related to reorganization of states on linguistic basis? The correct answer is 7th Amendment. The State Reorganization Act was enacted on 31st August 1956. Before it came into effect on 1st November, an important amendment was made to the Constitution of India. Under the 7th Amendment, the existing distinction among Part A, B, C and D states was abolished. The territories of Goa, Daman and Diu were incorporated in the Indian Constitution by which amendment bill? The correct answer is 12th Amendment 1962. The 12th Amendment of Constitution of India, officially known as the Constitution 12th Amendment Act 1962, incorporated Goa, Daman and Diu as the 8th Union Territory of India by amending the first schedule to the Constitution of India. India acquired control of Goa, Daman and Diu from Portugal in December of 1961. In which state EVM machines were first used? The correct answer is Kerala. They were first used in 1982 in the by-election to North Paravur Assembly constituency in Kerala for a limited number of polling stations. The EVMs were first time used on an experimental basis in selected constituencies of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Delhi. Humayun Nama was written by which of the following authors? The correct answer is Gulbadan Begum. Gulbadan Begum was a Mughal princess and the youngest daughter of Emperor Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire. She is best known as the author of Humayun Nama, the account of the life of her half-brother Emperor Humayun, which she wrote on the request of her nephew Emperor Akbar. In the council of 8 ministers of Shivaji, which was called the Ashtapradhan, who was known as the chief minister and was responsible for general administration. The correct answer is Peshwa. A Peshwa was the equivalent of a modern prime minister in the Maratha Empire. All the Peshwas during the rule of Chhatrapati Shivaji and Sambhaji belonged to the Shastra Brahmin community. The first Peshwa was Moropant. The Treaty of Purandar was signed on June 11, 1665 between Mughals and the Maratha Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Who represented Mughals in this treaty? The correct answer is Jai Singh I. So, between the Rajput ruler Jai Singh I, who was the commander of the Mughal Empire, and Maratha Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the treaty was signed. Shivaji was forced to sign the agreement after Jai Singh besieged Purandar fort. Haji Ibrahim Sarhindi is known to be a Persian writer during the reign of Akbar and translated the following Sanskrit work in Persian. Which work was it? The correct answer is Atharva Veda. Akbar had a committee of scholars with cross-lingual expertise. Atharva Veda was translated by Haji Ibrahim Sarhindi. In the Indian history, which period is called the Golden Age of Architecture? The correct answer is Gupta period. Gupta period is called the Golden or Classical Age of India, partially due to the unprecedented activities and development in the arts, architecture, sculpture, painting, and literature. The rock-cut architecture reached its zenith in the Gupta era, and a new beginning of freestanding temple architecture began. Moti Masjid was built in the Red Fort by which of the following Mughal emperor? The correct answer is Aurangzeb. The Moti Masjid is a white marble mosque inside the Red Fort complex in Delhi, India. The name translates into English as Pearl Mosque. Ibadat Khana, which was constructed by Akbar at Fatehpur Sikri, was basically for the purpose of what? The correct answer is discuss matters related to all religion. Abul Fazl encouraged Akbar for debates on doctrinal and philosophical inquiries. Akbar displayed a curiosity in these discussions. The debate took place in the Ibadat Khana or hall of worship. What was the main responsibility of Mir Bakshi during the Mughal era? During Mughal era, Mir Bakshi was in charge of military pay and accounts office, that is the military department. Since civil service was based on Mansabdari system and all Mansabdars received their pay from military accounts office, the post of Mir Bakshi was of utmost importance as imperial paymaster. Who among the following forbade the inscription of Kalma on coins? The correct answer is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was very religious and he removed the Kalma from his coins as he feared that whenever such a coin bearing the Kalma fell in the hand of a non-Muslim, it became polluted, which is not something desirable in Islam. Which of the following battles helped Sher Shah to establish Suri dynasty? The correct answer is Battle of Chausa in 1539. The Battle of Chausa was a notable military engagement between the Mughal Emperor Humayun and the Afghan Sher Shah Suri. It was fought on 26 June 1539 at Chausa, 10 miles southwest of Buxar in modern-day Bihar, India. Sher Shah was victorious and crowned himself Farid al-Din Sher Shah. Sun shines exactly over Equator for how many times a year? As you can see in the diagram, there are two equinoxes. So what is an equinox? An equinox is commonly regarded as the instant of time when the plane of the Earth's equator passes through the center of the sun, which means the sun shines directly on the equator. This occurs twice a year, around 20 March and 23rd September. In other words, it is the moment at which the center of the visible sun is directly above the equator. We often read about Third World in newspapers. Which among the following best describes the Third World? During the Cold War, the Third World referred to the developing countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. the nations not aligned with either the First World or the Second World. In the decade since the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War in 1991, the term Third World was used interchangeably with developing countries. So the correct answer is the underdeveloped countries and developing countries. How much time does a ray of light take while reaching the moon to Earth? Light travels through space at just over 186,000 miles per second, and the moon is just under 250 miles from Earth. So light from the moon's surface has to travel more than 1 second, about 1.3 seconds to reach us. So the correct answer is roughly 1 second. Uranus takes how much time to revolve around the sun? The correct answer is 84 years. Uranus' year is 84 Earth years long, and each season of Uranus lasts 21 earthly years. Uranus, like Earth, has a nearly circular orbit, so it remains at the same distance from the Sun throughout its year long. Which of the following country has a flag with a pointed red maple leaf? The correct answer is Canada. The flag of Canada, often referred to as the Canadian flag or unofficially as the maple leaf or the one-leaved, is a national flag consisting of a red field with a white square at its center in the ratio of 1:2:1, in the middle of which is featured a stylized red 11-pointed maple leaf charged in the center. Which among the following terms denote a vertical wall of water moving upstream in a river? The correct answer is tidal bore. A tidal bore, often simply given as bore in context, is a tidal phenomena in which the leading edge of the incoming tide forms a wave of water that travels up a river or narrow bay against the direction of the river or bay's current. Titan is the largest moon of Saturn. Titan is the largest moon of Saturn, and it is the only known moon to have a dense atmosphere and the only object in space other than Earth where clear evidence of stable bodies of surface liquid have been found. Titan is the sixth gravitationally grounded moon from Saturn. Triton is a moon of which of the following planets? The correct answer is Neptune. Triton is the largest natural satellite of the planet Neptune and the first Neptunian moon to be discovered. The discovery was made on October 10, 1846 by English astronomer William Lassell. The 2 months which show phenomenon of equinox are, we have already done this, it's September and March. Which among the following terms denotes the transport of some property of the atmosphere or ocean, such as heat, humidity, or salinity? The correct answer is advection. In the field of physics, engineering, and earth sciences, advection is the transport of a substance or quantity by bulk motion. The properties of that substance are carried with it. Generally, the majority of the advected substance is a fluid. In India, which of the following has the largest area under cultivation? India is one of the world's largest producers of rice and brown rice, accounting for 20% of the world's rice production. Rice is India's preeminent crop and is the staple food of the people of the eastern and southern parts of the country. The correct answer here being rice. Which among the following increases by credit creation? The correct answer is supply of money. Credit creation is a situation in which banks make more loans to consumers and businesses with the result that the money in circulating, which is being passed from one person to another, increases. In other words, it refers to the unique power of the banks to multiply loans in advance and hence deposits. Which among the following is the best definition of rupee convertibility? The correct answer is permission of the conversion of rupee to other currencies and vice versa. Convertibility of rupee means that those who have foreign exchange like US dollars, pounds, sterlings, etc. can get them converted into rupees and vice versa at the market determined rate of exchange. Rupee is both convertible on capital amount and current amount. Which among the following signs represents narrow money? Narrow money is a category of money supply that includes all physical money such as coins and currency, demand deposits and other liquid assets held by the central bank. It is classified as M1. Which among the following describes narrow money or M1? Now the correct answer here is demand deposits of banks, other deposits by RBI and some of currency notes and coins held by the public. So narrow money, as we just learned, is both physical money such as coins and currencies and any deposits and other liquid assets held by the central bank, which in case of India is RBI. Malekam Committee was set up by the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and this committee gave its recommendations in 1995. This committee was constituted to recommend reforms in what? The correct answer is primary market. So Reserve Bank of India had constituted this expert committee to look into the entire gamut of issues relating to classification of bad loans, effectiveness of audits and rising incidence of bank frauds. So this mainly happened after the Punjab National Bank fraud. Also there's a huge rise in bad loans. Bad loans, when people take loans, then they refuse to repay it. So this committee was supposed to investigate why it was happening and what the banks could do to prevent it from happening in the future. Which among the following committees is related to insurance reforms in India? The correct answer is Malhotra Committee. This committee was set up in 1993 under the chairmanship of R.N. Malhotra, who is a former governor of RBI, to make recommendations for reforms in insurance sector. Marathe Committee is related to what? The correct answer is urban cooperative banks. The Reserve Bank of India appointed a committee under the chairmanship of Marathe in 1982. The objectives of the committee were to analyze the working of the credit authorization scheme. LIBOR stands for London Interbank Offer Rate. What does MIBOR stand for? The correct answer is Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. The London Interbank Offered Rate is an interest rate average calculated from estimates submitted by the leading banks in London. Whereas MIBOR is the same thing that we have based out of Mumbai. Khan Working Group that was appointed by the Reserve Bank of India in December 1997 had which of the following functions? The correct answer is it was to harmonize the role and operations of development finance institutions or DFIs and banks. The H.R. Khan Committee on Corporate Bond Market proposed that banks should be allowed to pledge corporate bonds as collateral to borrow funds from the Reserve Bank's overnight repo window. Vitamin A, D and C are respectively called retinol, calciferol and ascorbic acid. Vitamin A is also known as retinol because it produces the pigments in the retina of the eye. Vitamin D is a group of fat-soluble corticosteroids. Vitamin C is also known as ascorbic acid and is necessary for growth, development and repair of all body tissues. Sugar amino acids and nucleotides are constituents of which of these options respectively? The correct answer is sugar for polysaccharides, amino acids for proteins and nucleotides for nucleic acid. So simple sugars are also called monosaccharides, whereas longer chains are called polysaccharides. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, whereas nucleic acid or RNA and DNA are made up of a series of nucleotides. William Harvey, Alexander Fleming and Louis Pasteur are related to which of these options respectively? William Harvey is related to blood circulation, Alexander Fleming to penicillin and Louis Pasteur to vaccination. William Harvey was the first known physician to describe completely and in detail the systemic circulation and properties of blood being pumped to the brain and body by the heart. Sir Alexander Fleming is best known for his discovery of the world's first antibiotic substance, benzyl penicillin or penicillin G from the mold Penicillium notatum, which won him the Nobel Prize. Pasteur demonstrated that microorganisms cause disease and discovered how to make vaccines from weakened or attenuated microbes. The elements which are found in hemoglobin, chlorophyll, chalcopyrite and vitamin B12 are which of the following respectively? So hemoglobin has iron, chlorophyll has magnesium, chalcopyrite has copper and vitamin B12 has cobalt. Iron is an essential element for blood production and about 70% of our body's iron is found in hemoglobin and myoglobin. Magnesium in plants is located in the enzymes in the heart of the chlorophyll molecule. Vitamin B12 is a collective term for a group of cobalt-containing compounds known as carotenoids. A ripe tomato is red, leaves are green, flower is purple and hair is black. Which are the pigments responsible for these colors? The correct answer is lycopene for tomato red, chlorophyll for leaf green, anthocyanin for flower purple, and melanin for hair black. Lycopene is a bright red carotene and carotenoid pigment and phytochemical found in tomatoes and other red fruits and vegetables. Chlorophyll is of course the green pigment responsible for photosynthesis in leaves. Anthocyanins are a type of flavonoid found naturally in a number of foods and gives these fruits and flowers their purple color. Melanin is the same pigment that gives our skin color as well as our hair. An example of protozoa, arthropod, aves, mammal and reptile respectively is. So amoeba is a single cell protozoa, Scorpio is a 8-leg arthropoda, hen is a bird or ave, bats are of course mammals and lizards are cold-blooded reptiles. Which among the following clearly describes a silverfish? The correct answer is a wingless insect. So a silverfish is a small wingless insect in the order Zygonotoma. Its common name derives from the animal's silvery light grey color combined with the fish-like appearance of its movements. Protein in pulses, or more correctly legume, is found in which of the following form? The correct answer is albumin. Albumins are a family of globular proteins, the most common of which are the serum albumins. Which among the following is the best definition of triticale? The correct answer is a man-made hybrid cereal not found in nature. Triticale is a hybrid of wheat and rye first bred in laboratories during the late 19th century in Scotland and Germany. Commercially available triticale is almost always a second generation hybrid, that is a cross between two kinds of primary triticales. Flowering in long day plants is related to which of the following? The correct answer is gibberellin. Gibberellins or GAs are plant hormones that regulate various developmental processes including stem elongation, germination, dormancy, flowering, flower development and leaf and fruit senescence. Who among the following is called the architect of the Indian 5-year planning? The correct answer is P.C. Mahalanobis. Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, an Indian scientist and applied statistician, laid the framework for the formal founding of Indian economic planning. G77 is a group of developing countries. The group of 77 was established on 15th June 1964 by 77 developing countries, signatories of the Joint Declaration of the 77 countries issued at the end of the first session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development or UNCTAD in Geneva. Total cost is the total of what? The correct answer is fixed cost and variable cost. In economics and cost accounting, total cost is the total economic cost of production and is made up of variable costs which vary according to the quantity of a good produced and include inputs such as labor and raw materials plus fixed costs which are independent of the quantity of a good produced and include inputs that cannot be varied in the short term. Fixed costs such as buildings and machinery. Which among the following article gives the power to the central government to take preemptive action to protect any state against external aggression and internal disturbance? The correct answer is Article 355. It entrusts the duty upon union to protect the state against external aggression and internal disturbance, to ensure that the government of every state is carried on in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. The word vihara in Buddhism means what? The correct answer is residence of monks. Viharas were for the purpose of living. Chaityas were assemblies for the purpose of discussions. Further, chaityas were with stupas. Viharas did not have stupas. Consider the following. 1. Storm tides. 2. Riptides. 3. Tsunamis. Which among the above are called harbor waves? Tsunami, in fact, is the correct answer because tsunami, the word in Japanese, directly translates to harbor wave. So it is also called a seismic sea wave or tidal wave, catastrophic ocean wave, and is usually caused by a submarine earthquake, an underwater or coastal landslide, or a volcanic eruption within the sea. Borneo Island is part of which among the following countries? The correct answer is all of the above. So if you see in the map, you can see Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, all of them surrounding the island. So Borneo is a giant rugged island in Southeast Asia's Malay archipelago and is shared by the Malaysian states of Sabah and Sarawak, Indonesian Kalimantan, and the tiny nation of Brunei. Consider the following statements. 1. Both plutonism and volcanic eruption involve cooling of magma. 2. Both plutonism and volcanic eruption involve bulk chemical changes. Which among the above statements is correct? The correct answer is both of them are correct. To give you some background, the melted rock or magma is less dense than the rock surrounding it, allowing it to rise towards the Earth's surface. This is because plutonic rocks are rocks formed when magma cools and solidifies below the Earth's surface, and volcanic rocks are rocks formed when lava cools and solidifies on Earth's surface. So in both cases, there is cooling of magma and chemical changes. Puncak Jaya, which is the highest peak in Southeast Asia and only place in Southeast Asia where ice glaciers can be found, is located in which among the following countries? So the correct answer here is Indonesia. As you can see on the map, it is the highest summit of Mount Javijaya or Mount Katsens in the Sudirman range of the western central highlands of Papua province of Indonesia. Beriberi is a result of deficiency of which of the following? The correct answer is thiamine. Thiamine or vitamin D deficiency produces beriberi, which is also known as Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome after the people who discovered it, and optic neuropathy. Beriberi is a neurological and cardiovascular disease. The three major forms of the disorder are dry beriberi, wet beriberi, and infantile beriberi. Lord Jagannath is related to which of the following places? The correct answer is Puri. The Sri Jagannath Temple of Puri is an important Hindu temple dedicated to Lord Jagannath, a form of Lord Mahavishnu, located on the eastern coast of India at Puri in the state of Orissa. Which among the following sites gives an evidence of maritime trade in Harappan era? The correct answer is Lothal. Lothal is one of the southernmost cities of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, and it is currently located in the Bhal region of modern state of Gujarat. There is evidence that it was first inhabited in 3700 BCE. Lothal's rivers provide direct access to sea route. Although now sealed off from the sea, Lothal's topography and geology reflects its maritime past. Fahim, who came to India during Gupta period, had the main motive of what? The correct answer is the study of teachings of Buddha. So, Fahim was a Chinese Buddhist monk and a translator who traveled by foot from ancient China to ancient India, visiting many sacred Buddhist sites in Central Asia, the Indian subcontinent, and Southeast Asia between 399 and 412 CE to acquire Buddhist texts. Which among the following is the best example of Vijayanagar art? The correct answer is Hampi. Hampi is built according to Vijayanagar architecture, which is of the 1336 to 1565 CE, and it was a notable building idiom that developed during the rule of Imperial Hindu Vijayanagar Empire. Earlier in the centuries when these empires ruled, it is characterized by a return to the simplistic and serene art of the past. On February 20th, 1947, the British government declared its intention to quit India by when? The correct answer is June of 1948. The Prime Minister of United Kingdom then announced on 20th February 1947 that the British government will grant full self-government to British India by 30th June 1948 at the latest. The future of the princely states would be decided after the date of final transfer is decided. By which Charter Act financial allocation for education was made for the first time? The correct answer is Charter Act of 1813. The East India Company Act of 1813, which is also known as the Charter Act 1813, was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom which renewed the charter issued to the British East India Company and continued the company's rule in India. However, the company's commercial monopoly was ended except for the tea and opium trade and the trade with China, this reflecting the growth of British Crown's power in India. Lord Wavell was the Viceroy of India at which of the following events? The correct answer is Cabinet Mission Plan. So the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946 came to India, aimed to discuss the transfer of power from the British government to the Indian leadership, with the aim of preserving India's unity and giving it independence. Lord Wavell, the Viceroy of India, did not participate in every step, but he was present. First Roundtable Conference was held during November 1930, January 1931, between this time period. Who was the Viceroy of India at that time? The correct answer is Lord Irwin. In response to the inadequacy of the Simon Report, the Labour government, which had come to power under Ramsay MacDonald in 1929, decided to hold a series of roundtable conferences in London. The first roundtable conference convened from 12 November 1930 to 19 January 1931. Which among the following was a unit of Mughal Empire for the purpose of administration and revenue collection? The correct answer is Subas. A Suba was the term for a province in the Mughal Empire. The word is derived from the Arabic and Persian. The governor or ruler of the Suba was known as the Subadar, which later became Subedar to refer to a ranking officer in an army. Out of capital of Akbar's kingdom, Buland Darwaza, Panchmahal and Akbar's mausoleum, which are located at the same place. The correct answer is capital of Akbar's kingdom, Buland Darwaza and Panchmahal. Capital of Akbar's kingdom, Buland Darwaza and Panchmahal, all of these are located at Fatehpur Sikri, whereas the mausoleum of Akbar is located in Sikandra. Who among the following is associated with the discovery of rings of Saturn? The correct answer is Galileo. In 1610, the year after Galileo Galilei turned a telescope to the sky, he became the first person to observe Saturn's rings, though he could not see them well enough to discern their true nature. In 1655, Christian Huygens was the first person to describe them as a disk surrounding Saturn. What is the length of day and night when the rays from the sun are directly falling on the equator? The correct answer is days and nights are equal. The light crosses the plane of the Earth's equator, making day and night of approximately equal duration. The event is known as Equinox and is eagerly awaited by space enthusiasts as it takes place twice a year, once on March 21st and then on 21st September. In India, when there is summer season, what is the season in Chile? The correct answer is winter. So, India is in the northern hemisphere and Chile is in the southern hemisphere. The seasons in the northern and southern hemisphere are opposites of each other. This means in Argentina and Australia, winter begins in June. The winter solstice in the summer hemisphere is June 20th or 21st, while the summer solstice is the longest day of the year on December 21st or 22nd, when it is winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. World's largest temple is located where? The correct answer is Cambodia. The Angkor Wat is the temple complex at Angkor, Cambodia. It is the largest religious monument in the world on a site measuring 162.6 hectares. which was built for King Suryavarman II in the early 12th century as a state temple and capital city. Suryavarman II in the early 12th century is related to which of the following ancient sites? We just learned that it's related to Angkor Wat Temple in Cambodia. Which among the following is not among the ancient list of 7 wonders of the world? So, historian Herodotus and the scholar Callimachus of Cyrene at the Museum of Alexandria made early lists of 7 wonders. Although their writings have not survived, the references have survived, and the only ancient world wonder which still exists is Great Pyramid of Giza. So here the correct answer is Great Wall of China, which was not a part of the ancient list. The annual average rate of net plant production is highest in which of the following ecosystem? The correct answer is temperate forests. Temperate forests in all regions of the globe have been significantly altered by human activities for thousands of years. Their moderate climates, fertile soils, and vegetation productivity have been favorable to human settlement and clearing for agriculture, as well as direct use of trees themselves for lumber and fuel. Which among the following comet is seen every 75 to 76 years? The correct answer is Halley's Comet. The Halley's Comet or Comet Halley, officially designated 1P by Halley, is a short period comet visible from Earth every 75 to 76 years. Halley is the only known short period comet that is regularly visible to the naked eye from Earth and the only naked eye comet that might appear twice in a human lifetime. Western Australia is characterized by which of the following? The correct answer is maximum coral reefs. The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Queensland, Australia is the world's largest coral reef. The reef is made up of 3,000 reef systems and is the only living organism that's visible from space. The Great Barrier Reef stretches more than 1,800 miles and tops 40 miles wide in some spaces. Which country is called Sugar Bowl of the world? The correct answer is Cuba. For much of its history, Cuba was known as Sugar Bowl of the world, although it has fallen into second place for global sugar production now, it is still referred by that name. Which among the following are directly linked to Vedic literature? 1. Dharma Sutra, 2. Akaranga Sutra, 3. Avatamsaka Sutra. The correct answer is Dharma Sutra. Dharma Sutra is a genre of Sanskrit text and refers to the treatises or shastras of Hinduism on dharma. There are many Dharma Sutras, variously estimated to be 18 to about 100, with different and conflicting points of views. On the other hand, the Acharanga Sutra is the first of the 12 Angas, part of the Agamas, which were compiled based on the teachings of Mahavira. And the Avatamsaka Sutra is one of the most influential Mahayana sutras of East Asian Buddhism. Which of the following provisions of the Constitution did not come into force on November 26, 1949? The correct answer is fundamental rights. Though the Constitution came into force on 26 November 1950, some provisions relating to citizenship, elections, provisional parliament, temporary and transitional provisions were given immediate effect on 26 November 1949. The articles which did come into force on 26 November include Articles 5, 6, 8, 9, 60, 324, 366, 372, 388, 391, 392 and 393. On which date Indian Constitution was finally signed by the members of Constituent Assembly? The correct answer is January 26, 1950. The Constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949. However, it came into full effect from 26 January 1950. The Constituent Assembly had members from all parts of India, and they were selected in such a way so as to represent all the social groups of India. By which among the following ways the Constituent Assembly generally arrived at decisions on various provisions of the Constitution? The correct answer is via consensus. That is, most of the members or a majority of members had to agree on something. The Constitution of India was drafted by the Constituent Assembly and it was implemented under the Cabinet Mission Plan on 16 May 1946. The members of Constituent Assembly were elected by the provincial assemblies by a single transferable vote system of proportional representation. BIFR was established under Sikh Industrial Companies Act 1985 to deal with the problems of industrial sickness with regard to the crucial sectors where public money is locked up. What is the correct expansion or full form of BIFR? The correct answer is Board of Industrial and Finance Reconstruction. BIFR was an agency of the Government of India, part of the Department of Financial Services of the Ministry of Finance. Set up in January 1987 by the Rajiv Gandhi government, its objective was to determine sickness of industrial companies and to assist in reviving those that may be viable and shutting down the others. On 1st December 2016, the now Modi government dissolved BIFR and referred all proceedings to the National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal as per provisions of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Which among the following is not an objective of DPAP or Drought Prone Area Program? Drought Prone Area Program or DPAP is the earliest area development program launched by the central government in 1973 to 74 to tackle the special problems faced by those fragile areas which are constantly affected by severe drought conditions. The only option here which is not an objective is to provide financial assistance to the poor farmers in the drought affected areas. Meera Seth Committee was related to which of the following? The correct answer is Development of Handlooms. Meera Seth is an Indian civil servant, diplomat, women's rights activist and a former chairman of UNICEF. Seth turned her studies in this particular committee into an experience book known as Women and Development, the Indian Experience. One of Seth's key ideals is give us jobs, we can do the rest, referencing the concept that giving women the ability to enter the workforce without barriers in developing countries will allow for even greater economic growth. Her studies on women's involvement in several different economic efforts such as the regulation of handlooms and fisheries is an expert on women and development issues. Maastricht Treaty is related to which of the following? The correct answer is Europe Unification. This treaty was signed on 7 February 1992 by the members of the European Community in Maastricht, Netherlands to further European integration. In which state of India maximum diamond mines are found? The correct answer is Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh. India does have one active diamond mine at Panna in Madhya Pradesh, which is run by the state-owned National Mineral Development Corporation. De Beers, India is also prospecting in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu for diamonds. In which year Bharat Nirman was launched? The correct answer is 2005. Bharat Nirman is an Indian business plan for creating and augmenting basic rural infrastructure. It comprises projects on irrigation, roads, housing, water supply, electrification and telecommunication connectivity. Presence of which among the following minerals in banana makes them slightly radioactive? The correct answer is potassium. A banana contains naturally occurring radioactive material in the form of potassium-40, which is a radioactive isotope of potassium which has a very long half-life. Bile is secreted by which of the following cells? The correct answer is hepatocytes. A hepatocyte is a cell of the main parenchymal tissue of the liver. Hepatocytes make up 70 to 85% of the liver's mass. These cells are involved in protein synthesis and protein storage. Bile is collected where? The correct answer is gallbladder. Bile is an emulsifier liquid and is made by the liver and later stored in the gallbladder and released in the duodenum. Bile is composed of bile salts, cholesterol and bile pigments. The Parliament of India consists of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the President. India has a bicameral parliament made of President, Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house or council of states, and Lok Sabha, which is the lower house or council of people. While Rajya Sabha represents states and union territories, Lok Sabha represents people of India. Which among the following are subject to dissolution? Option 1 is Legislative Assembly, 2 Legislative Council, 3 Lok Sabha, 4 Rajya Sabha. The correct answer is 1 and 3, that is Legislative Assembly and Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha is a permanent house and is not subject to dissolution. One-third members of Rajya Sabha retire every second year. A member who is elected for a full term serves for a period of 6 years. The Legislative Council follows the same procedure. At which among the following places Harshavardhana established a large Buddhist monastery? The correct answer is Nalanda. Harsha was a converted Buddhist and considered himself a servant of monks of Nalanda. He built a monastery of brass within the Mahavira and remitted to it the revenues of 100 villages. Around 1,000 monks from Nalanda were present at Harsha's royal congregation at Kannauj. Who among the following was the Sultan of Delhi when the Mongols appeared for the first time on Indian soil? The correct answer is Iltutmish. Iltutmish was the third ruler of the Mamluk dynasty of Delhi of Turk origin. He ruled between 1211 and 1236 AD, and in 1221 the Mongol Empire under Genghis Khan appeared for the first time on the banks of the Indus River. What is India's rank in worldwide farm output? India's rank is second in worldwide farm outputs. As per 2018, agriculture employed 50% of the Indian workforce and contributed 17 to 18% to country's GDP. India has exported 38 billion worth of agricultural products in 2013, making it the 7th largest agricultural exporter worldwide and the 6th largest net exporter. Consider the following reasons of failure of French in India against the British. 1. The authorities in France did not recognize the importance of securing political power in India. 2. French were inferior to English in naval strength. 3. Some of important French officers were heavily bribed by British. Which among the above options are correct? The correct answer is 1 and 2. The top causes for the loss are the French government's outlook, the French company which wasn't very experienced, different seats of power in India which the British had occupied, the naval strength compared to that of the British was weak, policy conquest in place of commerce. So they tried to conquer instead of going through trade. Lack of enthusiasm and enterprise on their part, and lack of financial support as well as some personal incompetence. Galena and litharge are ores of which of the following metals? The correct answer is lead. Galena, also called lead glance, is the natural mineral form of lead 2 sulfide. It is the most important ore of lead and an important source of silver. Litharge is a secondary mineral which forms from the oxidation of galena ores. Graphite, carbon and diamonds are allotropes of each other. Some chemical elements are known to exist in 2 or more different forms because the atoms are bound together in different manners. Most common example is carbon, which exists in diamond, graphite, etc. forms. Allotropy is only for elements and not for compounds. Bleaching powder is a compound of calcium. Bleaching powder is chemically calcium oxychloride. It is manufactured using Blackman's plant in which slacked lime and chlorine are made to react, creating bleaching powder. When exposed to air, bleaching powder gives a smell of chlorine. This is because bleaching powder reacts with carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce calcium carbonate and chlorine. To keep the hot glass items finishing and transparency, they go through a process called annealing. This process involves, the correct answer is, cool down slowly and uniformly under controlled environment. Annealing in metallurgy and material science is a heat treatment that alters the physical and sometimes chemical properties of a material to increase its ductility and reduce its hardness, making it more workable. The inability of a body to change its state of rest or its uniform motion in a straight line is called inertia. Inertia is the resistance of any physical object to any change in its velocity. This includes changes to the object's speed or direction of motion. Water at 4 degrees centigrade has maximum density. So this is called anomalous expansion of water. It is an abnormal property of water whereby it expands instead of contracting when the temperature goes from 4 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius and it becomes less dense. Which among the following is not a use of graphite? So graphite is used for making electrodes. We already know that in batteries and stuff, graphite is used. It is also used as lubricant because it is very smoothing. Its powder is very smoothing. And it is also used in manufacturing of crucibles. The only place it's not used is glass cutting. Glass cutters usually have diamond or in some cases hardened steel or tungsten carbide. Which of the following group characterizes alcohols? The correct answer is OH group or hydroxyl group. It is a pair of atoms that is commonly found in organic compounds such as sugars and alcohols. Sodium alkyl sulfate and benzene sulfate are examples of synthetic detergents. A synthetic detergent is any synthetic substance other than soap that is an effective cleanser and functions equally well as a surface active agent in hard or soft water. It is a non-soap cleanser that exerts its effect by lowering the surface tension of an aqueous cleansing mixture. Rayon is an example of semi-synthetic fiber. Rayon is a manufactured fiber made from regenerated cellulose fibers. Of it, a modal is a type of rayon, a semi-synthetic cellulose fiber made by spinning reconstituted cellulose. In case of modal, it is beech trees. Gandhi may die, but Gandhism will remain forever. In which session of Indian National Congress Gandhiji said this? The correct answer is Karachi session 1931. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel presided over the Karachi session of 1931. In Karachi session of INC, leaders also demanded the fundamental rights of the people for the very first time. Lucknow Pact was signed between Indian National Congress and who in 1916? The correct answer is the Muslim League. The Lucknow Pact was an agreement reached between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League at the joint session of both the parties held in Lucknow in December of 1916. By which act Public Service Commission in India was established for the first time? The correct answer is Government of India Act 1990. It was passed to expand participation of Indians in the Government of India. The Act embodied the reforms recommended in the report of the Secretary of State for India, Edwin Montagu, and the Viceroy, Lord Chelmsford. The Act covered 10 years from 1990 to 1929. This reform is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford reform. In case of a dispute arising regarding the election of President of India, it is referred to the Supreme Court, which is the highest judiciary authority in India. Any member of the public or group of people may approach the court on behalf of the aggrieved persons for protection of their fundamental rights. This is called the doctrine of public interest litigation. The court must be satisfied that the writ petition fulfills some basic needs for a PIL as the letter is addressed by the aggrieved person, public spirited individual, and a social action group for the enforcement of legal or constitutional rights to any person who are not able to approach the court for redress. A boy of 12 years is employed in a factory with a hazardous job. Which among the following is violated in this case? The correct answer is right against exploitation. The right against exploitation enshrined in the Indian Constitution guarantees dignity of any individual. It also prohibits the exploitation or misuse of service by force or inducement in the following ways. 1. It prohibits human trafficking. 2. It criminalizes buying and selling of human beings as commodity or employing them without their consent. India is Union of States. This expression was borrowed from the following constitution. The correct answer is Canada. An act for the Union of Canada, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, and the government thereof, and for purposes connected therewith, is a major part of the Canada's constitution, and that's where we adopted this phrase from. Who among the following recommends distribution of taxes between the Union and the state government? The correct answer is Finance Commission. Its function is distribution of net proceeds from taxes between centre and the states to be divided as per their respective contributions to the taxes. Which of the following statement regarding the financial powers of President of India is wrong? The correct answer here is President prepares the budget, which is absolutely false. The Budget Division issues an annual budget circular to all the Union government ministries and departments containing guidelines on how to prepare budget estimates. Budget is prepared by the Budget Division, Department of Economic Affairs and Ministry of Finance. That's all for today's quiz. Until the next video, goodbye.